Well, the players really are not giving me a whole lot to talk about. The last 2 days have been more of the same, really, which is why I didn't do an update yesterday. And I'm just really glad we're in the last 2 weeks now because I don't know if there's going to be a whole lot more updates to do unless some players start to play a little smarter. So, not a whole lot of updating for me to do, but I can always count on this fan base to just talk out of their ass and make me want to gut them like a fish. Let's talk a little bit about Tiffany's trying really hard to stay. I commended Christian for trying hard to stay. I commended Derek X for trying hard to stay. Tiffany is another one fighting to stay. She's made some strong pitches. However, per usual, I feel like it was a little messy. Like she's telling Derek F and Oz at one point on Monday that her plan, if she stays, is to target Xavier. That, of course, gets back to Xavier when Xavier is one of the votes she could possibly need because she's going to get Oz's most likely, unless Ozza decides to, maybe play smart and not vote for Tiffany and just vote out Tiffany because Hannah's going to be staying instead of just voting for Hannah when Hannah's staying. But whatever. Well, maybe I'll talk about that. But then Tiffany goes to Xavier and makes a good pitch that if he keeps her, she would not target him the rest of the game, would want to go to the end with them. I do think she means it. And she thinks that she says that if she has Xavier and Oz's vote, then she will work with them the rest of the game. Honestly, it's too bad Tiffany came to this realization so late in the fucking game, but she did. And then since she already told others she was targeting Xavier, that got back to Xavier. So now Xavier has no incentive to really change his mind because why would he trust her after that got back to him? So Tiffany is still the target that is likely going. Hannah's plotting to either take out Kylan or Xavier, leaning towards Kylan, even though she needs to take out Xavier. Somebody needs to take out Xavier. That's the theme here, that Xavier is just marching his way to victory fairly easily. But it's because not a whole lot are thinking smart. I still feel like Hannah is the one that needs to win the double to at least maybe spice this up a little bit and put up Kylan and Xavier together, but she's even changed her mind to maybe just put up Kylan and Derek F. And Hannah wants to go to the end with Ozza, but she hasn't really told this clearly to Ozza. She made a pitch to Ozza. I thought it sucked. But then Ozza's just not thinking. Ozza, I think, is giving up on the fact that she's not going to make the end. I don't think Ozza thinks she's going to make the end at this point with Tiffany going. Ozza has been wanting to work with Tiffany this whole game. It never came to fruition. Now Tiffany's going home, and Ozza feels like she only has Derek F and Xavier because they've been working with Ozza this whole time. And Kylan's now made a deal. So Hannah's the last one to try and make a deal with Ozza, even though Hannah's the only one that actually wants to take Ozza to the end. So once again, it's just bad communication between the women in the cookout. The communication has been really poor all season, honestly. And it's why they find themselves at this point. The best thing Hannah could do at this point is probably try and, if she doesn't win, I guess, but it's a double, so she could be fucked anyway. But is to try and convince Xavier to get Ozza out before her. Kind of can maybe swing that, but I don't know since it's a double. If it was a regular round and Xavier won the HOH, I think Hannah could swing that. But since it's double, maybe not. Let's talk about Big Dumbass. So Big D is, per usual, saying a little too much, telling Ozza he might have to throw her up as a pawn, thus annoying Ozza with Derek F. Honestly, all everyone is doing is just making this game easier for Xavier. Because if Derek F's going to piss off Ozza, I think Ozza would just want Xavier to win most. I think Hannah has even said if she doesn't win, she wants it to be Xavier. Tiffany has said that if she stays, she wants to go to the end with Xavier. Kylan wants to go to the end with Xavier because he wants to beat the best. Derek F might be the only one that actually maybe doesn't want to go to the end with Xavier, but Derek F, in all of his delusion, thinks if he was at the end with Xavier, he would win because he's a big dumbass. Derek has also been getting a lot of shit for his, I mean, he's been getting all season for calling women bitches and how he's always been wanting to get the girls out of the house and how he wants to go to the end with a guy and how he's misogynist. Derek Ev is definitely ignorant with all that and clearly has mommy issues or something, but yeah, he's thinking he's going to be really popular at the end of this game if he makes it. He thinks he's going to be really popular out of the house, but yeah, I think Twitter hates his guts, so probably not. Yeah, he might just have to get in good with the Facebook crowd because that seems to be some of the casuals seem to be the only one that actually like Derek F since they voted him so highly all the time because of the episode edits, I guess. But yeah, he better find his inner Christian Walker, a black gay son of a former athlete, and just try to placate to Facebook whites because that's the only fans Derek F's gonna really have after this. But per usual, I have to call the fan base out on its constant hypocrisy. It never stops with this fan base who want to just call everything so misogynistic when they have been misogynistic all fucking season. They have found anything that Ozza has done this season to try and bitch and moan about it. Once they finally figured out that Sarah Beth wasn't good at the game, they started to say really shitty things about Sarah Beth all season about Brittany. They were saying really shitty things about Brittany. So let's not act like, unless it's the person you stand the most, which was Tiffany, or somehow, however, Claire had stands, being the boring furniture that she was. The fan base has constantly talked shit about women all season. They have found problems with certain women all season, and they're hypocrites about it. They act like because Ozza is fine with Xavier winning this game or Derek F winning this game, that she's just so bad and wants a man to win, and she just plays into misogyny. When in reality, she was just at the bottom of the alliance, and none of the women actually tried to make any real things with her this entire time. So Xavier and Derek F were the two people that worked with her the entire time. So why wouldn't she want them to get to the end? It's the most logical fucking thing. But people don't want to see everyone's point of view. But it's not like Ozza's the only one saying that. Hannah's now said it. Tiffany's now said it. She would go to the end with Xavier if she stays. Kyla wants to go to the end with Xavier. That just seems to be everyone's favorite thing to want to do right now. So I wish the fan base would just shut the fuck up per usual and just stop looking dumber than even Tucker Carlson's fan base. Lastly, I just kind of want to talk about Xavier's game again because I just be seeing two extremes now. And I've already talked about the usual crowd, the Rob has a podcast idiots that make no sense and always want to talk about how social gameplay isn't important in a social game. Make that make fucking sense, but it never does. They never make sense. They've all just jumped on to a narrative to try and placate the stands. It's fucking disgusting and gross, but that's what they do. Like why do the fans and podcasters make me have to constantly point out all the flaws in Tiffany's game? But they do because they be pushing this narrative that doesn't make any logical sense constantly. They truly want to act like Tiffany was the mastermind this season and carried the cookout. Let's actually talk about the fucking facts. If she was such a mastermind, why did Christian stay when she didn't want Christian to go? Why did Derek X stay when she didn't want Derek X to go? She did not have as much agency in this game that they wanted her to have because she played messy within this game a lot. She did not carry the cookout when she was trying to constantly go against the cookout. Doesn't make any fucking sense factually. So that narrative needs to die a bloody fucking death. I don't even think the argument could be made that Tiffany could have went against the cookout because she tried and failed. So Tiffany did not carry the cookout, okay? So stop. She was not a mastermind. Not every player needs to be a mastermind. I don't think there's any mastermind this season. But back to Xavier and the two extremes I see about Xavier. On that end with the podcasters and the fan base of stands want to act like Xavier has done nothing this season, which just isn't true. They did the same fucking thing to Deshaun, even though, in my opinion, Deshaun is one of the best winners I've seen on Big Brother in many, many fucking years. And that's just true. He played a perfect fucking game, never saw the block, won when he needed to, got out the right people when he needed to. Play a great fucking game. But they tried to downplay him too, for the record. But then on the other end, I was starting to see that like Xavier's going to be one of the best winners ever. And I don't think I agree with that either, because I just don't think Xavier really had to do anything big to win this game. He, like Meg said on the rankings, it's just a typical Big Brother winner, typical male Big Brother winner. That's why there's been very few female winners. There's only been 2 female winners over the past 8 seasons. And there's been like, I think only 1 female winner in like the last 7 or 8 seasons of Survivor, and it's just a very bad trend of men having men just have to be mediocre players to win these games. Men get more respect for whatever reason. It wasn't always this way, at least not on Survivor, the first 20 seasons. But somehow, I guess, when Gen X and older millennials started playing these games, suddenly women didn't have agency in these games, or like perception of women in these games have not been strong. And I don't get it at all, but that's just facts. Men just have to be mediocre to have a good reputation in these games. And I feel like Xavier falls in as a middle winner. He set himself up best within the cookout, and that was a great move, but he really hasn't had to do anything else. He's played a good social game, but strategically, I do think he's lacking. Like, he's obviously playing a good game because everybody wants to take him to the end or go to the end with Xavier. But I'm sorry, I feel that's more bad gameplay from everybody else rather than good gameplay from Xavier. The fact that someone in these games could always set themselves up so good so early doesn't make sense. And it happens on Big Brother mostly. It doesn't always happen on Survivor. But on Big Brother, you just have to be at the top of a big alliance, and then you're going to win. But anyway, I guess that's where I stand with Xavier. I feel like he's played a good, mediocre game, like a lot of men have had to play on both Survivor and Big Brother over the past 8 years or more. And yeah, that's about all I have to say.